confidence they exude often permeates an entire team, and we're going to see a couple of examples of that in this one. Welcome to the home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, Columbus, Ohio, and the Old Horseshoe on the banks of the Ncaa. As we'll see a squad from the SEC, the Alabama Crimson Tide, taking on the #1 team in the land, the Ohio State Buckeyes. For EA Sports, I'm Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, and David Pollack with me. Guys, can't wait to get this started. And the Buckeyes will put toe to leather and we'll get started. So the kick goes out of bounds and the ball will be placed at the 40 to start this drive. The offense will have to use its first timeout of the half.
Timeout, Alabama.
From the gun, give on the inside. He is going nowhere. Stop at the line of scrimmage.
A really good play by this defense, seeing it, attacking it, going and getting it. Obviously, they're running the RPO. They weren't fooled. They played the run, came up, made a nice tackle, got the running back.
You can barely hear yourself thinking here as they're trying to get this defense off to a good start. The short hands, it's Horton. Now they're starting to feel it. They've got a first down at the 44.
I'll tell you, this guy has to get touches early in games. They're doing a good job of that right now. He's so dangerous once he has the ball in his hands. And I think if you're on offense, you move him around and you find more creative ways to get him involved.
Now they'll line it up from the 44 on 1st and 10. Pulls and fires it complete to the right. They are on the move down to the 32, and they pick up another first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. From the gun, the running back has it. Stopped in the backfield. He's going to lose 3 yards on the play.
Man, it's nice to have a guy that is just better than your guys. And no matter what play you call, man, how about him getting in the backfield quick, penetrating, using his quickness, and using his strength to get him to the ground? That is a ball.
The Crimson Tide just hoping at least to get some of the yardage back here on 2nd down. That's caught. It's Horton. Makes the grab almost to the first down marker, but a good pickup on that one.
This slot receiver is a guy the defense has to be careful of. He runs good routes, he's got some speed, and if you're not careful, this guy can gash you.
And he can't grab the bullet pass on 3rd down. This offense has moved into plus territory, and they want to keep the heat on. They'll go for it on 4th down. And with this place rocking, the crowd forces a false start. The officials offer the deal, and the coach accepts it. They will take the penalty. And so on their opening drive of the game, they want to stay on the field, and the offense will go for it on 4th down.
Timeout, Alabama.
He'll try to throw and pick up the 1st down. Trying to escape and get it himself. He's not going to get there. Stopped short on 4th down.
Hey, you come out early in the game. You're trying to send a message to your team that you're confident, you believe in them to convert these 4th downs. You didn't get that one. But don't let it be a detriment moving forward. If you want to stay aggressive, be that way throughout the course of the game.
To the air, it's Ncaa. Looking to the big tight end. Got his man. He gets those chains moving, gets it out to the 42-yard line. The time-honored phrase for a quarterback is field general. This dude, in this environment, he's like a stadium commander. He's like an elevated rank above field general.
He's like an orchestrator. He knows how to set them off and bring it up and bring the excitement with the big plays and make it look easy time and time again. And that's why this offense is so impressive.
Out of the gun, the inside handoff to the running back.
And the defense doing a great job committing to the run. When you commit to the run like this, obviously you can give up some plays in the passing game, but you got to stop the run first.
After picking up a couple, it's 2nd and 8. Now the play fake. Skips away from pressure. Going to try to get it himself. Lowers that shoulder, delivers the blow.
Man-to-man coverage is a great opportunity for scrambling quarterbacks to take off and run because everybody on defense who's covering has their backs turned to the quarterback, obviously, because they're chasing an intended receiver or target. So good job that time by the quarterback knowing I've got man coverage. If it's not open, I can take off and go make something positive happen.
Looking downfield on 1st down. Intercepted. Big play stops the drive. And he's wrapped up after a solid return on the pick.
QBs have to understand, when I'm throwing against zones, I got to manipulate guys with my eyes. I might have to look one direction to create an opening to throw that ball or zip that ball in. I got to use touch. It's really hard when all eyes are on me, and you could tell the quarterback was not ready and did not make a good throw.
Got a man. It's Horton. Oh, he's got some space. He'll go out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Big pickup there, and this offense is feeling it.
All right, defense, you got to turn the page. You just gave up an explosive play through the air, but here comes the offense going quickly. You got to get lined up now and get ready for another one.
Makes the grab. It's Bernard. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play.
I'll tell you, the offense might be setting up a shot down the field here. You might see them later fake the wide receiver screen and see if they can hit a tight end or another receiver running up the boundary. Keep your eye open for that.
They're dealing with a 2nd and long. That's caught. It's Horton. He's close to the 1st down, but they're going to mark him just a little short. Hang on, crowd alive on third down. They'll try to power their way ahead. He gets it oh so close to the first down marker, but I think he's going to be a touch short.
You know, as a defense, you kind of want to force the give on the RPO. You want them to run the football, and you can tell maybe the quarterback wishes he pulled this. Small gain, but some information you gathered maybe for the next time you get to run an RPO.
They've already failed to convert on fourth down once in the first quarter. Doesn't stop them from trying it here. They stop him short of the marker, and they'll turn it over on downs.
Hey, he looks short on that play, and the quarterback sneak is such an easy play, and you trust it because the quarterback gets the ball right away. But that defensive line was having none of it. Failed fourth down. Big-time stop for this defense.
Opening play of this drive comes from the 26-yard line. Off the play fake on first down. They get enough rush, and it pays off. The sack at the 20.
6 yards on the play. Second down.
We've reached the end of the first quarter, and it has been a defensive battle, and the stats tell the tale so far. Let's see if the offenses can find a little rhythm here in the second. First down sack, pushes it back. Now it's second down.
42 Spider. 4-2 Spider.
Dropping back, it's Ncaa. And it'll be incomplete. This is some physical pass defense.
This offense really is putting themselves behind the 8 ball right now on this drive. Sack first down. You've just thrown an incompletion, so third in California. Defense knows you're probably going to throw it. What can you dial up here?
Not exactly the ideal situation for this offense. Third and long, backed up inside their 20. Timeout is called, and it's the defense wanting to make sure that everyone's on the same page for this big down. You make up the game plan and not a lot on the play sheet for this. Third and long from inside their own 20. He's looking downfield to throw. Going deep. Intercepted. A first half turnover can swing momentum. He managed a few yards on that return, but the bigger play was the fact that they forced the turnover. The Tide offense rolls onto the field. There have been a couple of missed opportunities for these offenses in the last couple of drives, Jesse.
And I think for this offense here, it'd be nice to hit an explosive play, be aggressive, and really pay off your defense's effort that last drive.
And instead of having to move the ball down the field consistently and then getting stopped on fourth downs, you're right. Create some of those explosives. Take those deep shots. Make those big plays.
Crosses the 35, out of bounds there. Nice pickup on the play, spotted at the 32.
And this is the frustration in playing man-to-man coverage. All the guys on your defense are chasing their guys. They don't have vision on the quarterback, but he is such a good athlete. He notices it, he takes off, he chews up yards, and makes a big play.
Makes the grab. It's Bernard. At the 20, he's got space. Touchdown, Bama! He broke away from the defense, and they couldn't catch him.
When you have so many playmakers on offense like they do, they can score quickly. You just saw it right there.
Now a two-point conversion attempt coming up. Dropping back, it's Simpson. Here's a heat. Looking to convert the two, and he will not. The defense gets to him with the sack. Kickoff unit on the field, and this defense will be called on to protect this lead. And a special teams miscue as the kickoff goes out of bounds. So the decision has been made, and the coach will take the penalty.
Okay, ready? Let's go!
Trying to start the drive with a pass. Moves away as he feels pressure. It'll be incomplete. Tried to extend the play, but just couldn't find anybody open.
This quarterback is really struggling in this game with decisions and also accuracy. He's already being picked off multiple times, and that time, that was a bad underthrow. He's lucky that one wasn't picked off.
To the air on second down. This time it's complete. He's really close to that first down marker, but they stop him just a bit short. The Buckeyes racing to the line in the hurry up. To the air, it's Ncaa. Fires to the big fella. Smashes through the tackle. Third down conversions are huge, and they've got one, and they're at the 35.
And it's on third downs like this, if you want to attack the middle of the field, you got to look for the tight end.
Turning it on! And he just kept running, and he ran away from the crowd, and he'll take it in. Touchdown, Buckeyes!
Offense slips the running back out of the backfield. Nobody decides to cover. My man makes the play. Shows off the hands first. Got to make the catch first. Does the rest. Walks in the end zone for the touchdown.
Setting up for the extra point that would put them on top. And they move on top with the extra point, 7-6. Quick work on that scoring drive, just 4 plays. And the score comes on a 35-yard pass for 6. They're set to kick it off, and this crowd now ready to get behind them. And no chance at a return here. They'll start this drive at their own 25. Here comes that Alabama offense onto the field. A quick pass to the left. At the 40, there he goes. He gets those chains moving, gets it out to the 42-yard line. One big play, and now they've got it at the 42-yard line on first down. They'll leave it with him. We'll give him a couple on that one. 2nd and 8 coming up. They want to get this defense on its heels.
Well, they're going RPO. Nice job handing it off, and really good vision there, just getting what he can get, right? Puts his foot in the ground, gets forward, helps this offense find positive yards.
They make the stop. Not a whole lot of ground picked up there, and they'll have work to do to get the first down.
For a wide receiver screen to work, you've got to have better blocking out in front by other receivers, and they're just not physical enough at the point on that last play. Makes the catch. It's Horton. There he goes.
He'll go out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Big pickup there, and this offense is feeling it.
Well, we know this guy is special, and because of that, his quarterback is looking to him on critical down and distances. There on that third down, there was no question. It wouldn't have mattered if he was single covered, double covered, man, zone. That's where he was going with it, and the big-time playmaker outside picks up the first.
Quick completion to the right. Just making a play, getting it to the 23-yard line. It'll be first down.
You know, the defense doesn't have an answer for this slot guy right now. They may want to think about bracketing him, having a defender play to the outside and to the inside. Probably some sort of zone coverage where you're trying to get two bodies, forcing the quarterback to have to go somewhere else with the ball.
Alabama comes to the line with 1st and 10. From the gun to give, looking for room. And this one will be stopped for no gain.
Offense trying to go RPO, but how about the defense? Up front, their front seven, they had dudes winning, just being way more physical and able to get to that running back.
The RPO, fire complete to the left. Recovered by the defense, and he's off.
Great job by the defense in the back end that time. He made the He had a little wiggle room to run afterwards, but they were able to get to him, rip the football out, and that is a massive takeaway for the defense.
Plenty of time left in the half here as they take over, but they will want to be efficient here in the final 2 minutes. Finds his tight end. Open space at the 25. They bring him down, but the big play will move the sticks.
And that's why QBs love their tight ends so much, right? Especially when they're athletic, because they make short throws turn into long gains. Because of his ability after the catch, it's so unique and special. He is dominant in this offense.
And the physical play there forces the incompletion on 1st down.
Well, this offense has gone his way early and often in this game. They've gotten into a nice rhythm. That time, though, the defense was expecting the throw going his way, and they put a really nice hit on him to force the incompletion.
Off the play fake. This one's complete.
Yeah, and listen, I'm going to move this guy everywhere. He's in the slot this time, but I'm not going to let the defense understand where he's lining up so they can double team him, put him in the slot, put him out.
Breaks into the open. Oh, he got loose. They've got it inside the 40 and the 39 as they pick up the 1st down.
And it's just got to be nice to have a running back that can make big-time plays with his feet. 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down right here. His opportunity, gets the football, makes a huge gain. He makes this offense go, and it makes it so easy to be a play caller.
And they dialed up a shot play, but they couldn't make the connection.
There's a lot of QBs that when they get hit and when they get hurried and when they get pressured, they become very average. Really nice job by the defense, pressuring the quarterback.
Try to make up for some of that lost ground on 2nd down. Looking for a man. It's Ncaa. Got his man quickly. And he runs through one tackle and picks up a few. The Buckeyes will hustle to the line. On 3rd and short, they'll try to throw for it. Flushed out of the pocket. Trying to make magic with his feet. They are on the move as they pick up the 1st down. They'll spot it at the 28. Wants to go up top on 1st down. Throws for the tight end. Finds a man in the middle. Can't quite cross the plane to get the 6, but they'll have the first down.
This defense is going to have their hands full because they're going to need to be comfortable with guys one-on-one on islands in the perimeter of the field, and they're just going to have to make better plays than what we saw right there.
Into the hallelujah land. Touchdown, Ohio State.
Man, what great offensive execution. You talk about addressing a 2-minute situation and using almost all of the clock, adding to your lead and creating more momentum going into the half. Great execution by this offense.
And they kick it through for the extra point, and they have an 8-point lead. So here comes the kickoff after the touchdown, and the last thing you need right before the half is to give up a big return. And it'll come out to the 25. No attempt at a return. Time to get off a play before we head to halftime. They weren't able to get that one off. It'll be a delay of game. The offense couldn't get the snap off in time, and it'll cost them. So that'll do it here in the first half. Stay tuned. Halftime is coming. I guess they're trying to send a message to start this second half, lined up for an onside kick. They were ready for the onside kick and executed perfectly, and they secure the football.
They're trying to pounce on their opponent with the lead in the second half, trying to steal possession, but give the return team credit. They may not have been set up perfectly for that onside kick, but they're Johnny on the spot, and now their offense is licking their chops, hoping to go down and score.
And it's incomplete. If you're going to take a hit like that, you might as well hang on to the ball. Plenty of work to do here on 2nd and long. Dropping back, it's Ncaa. Right on the money. And the defense had that one well covered, just a short game there.
And I love when my quarterback sees zone and knows exactly where to go with the football. Sees the wide receiver running the drag route, knows when to throw it, pulls the trigger for the easy completion.
The marker is at the 35, and they need to get it there to convert 3rd down. From the gun, wants to pass. Fires to the big fella. Oh, he's got some space. Just outside the red zone. If they pick up the first down, they'll spot it at the 22. Really good job working through his progression. You get it to him quickly, and the big tight end has a chance to run a little.
And a really good job by the QB throwing an accurate throw. I got to hit those guys on the move, on the run, so they can do this. They can catch the football, get upfield, and chew up some extra yards.
He's got an open man. Works his way to the 4-yard line, and they'll have it 1st and goal.
The big fella, the tight end, the wide receiver in a tight end's body going up and making the catch.
And the Buckeyes line it up with a 1st and goal. Wants to throw it. Big guy smells it.
got a quarterback that has this type of ability, there's no question what your strategy is going to be week in, week out, right? They want to throw the football. They want to hurt you with their ability to push it downfield through the air. 3 passing TDs in this one already.
And with the extra point, they move on top by 15. Kickoff unit on the field, and this defense will be called on to protect this lead.
Returner goes out of bounds.
Here comes that Alabama offense. This one feels as if it's starting to get away from them a little bit, Jesse.
Yeah, Reese, there's a lot of teams in college football at this point that would just quit. So, David, we're going to find out a lot about this team right here.
Yeah, just running out of opportunities. You give opportunities away like this, you're trailing. Every possession is going to be important from here on in.
Here's a quick throw out to the left. And just a short, safe pass play. They pick up a few.
Great play by the cornerback. He was just way too physical at the point of attack. He beat his man trying to block him, and he tackled that receiver on the screen.
Touch pass on the run. And some room to work. Gets it out to about the 35-yard line. That's where they'll mark him out of bounds in this offense trying to put something together.
And just went with something very easy, very reliable. Flip it forward. Let your receiver do the rest. I only got to get a few yards. Nice job. Nice execution. First down.
And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that. Alabama quickly back to the line. The jet sweep pass. The defense wouldn't let him loose there, and it was a completion, but they lost yardage.
Got to give the defense credit. Watching film. Anticipating. They knew that this offense had this play in their back pocket. They knew about the speed of this wide receiver, different ways they were going to try to get him involved. Everybody on defense on the same page, playing together. I love it.
The horseshoe is rocking, trying to help their defense on 3rd down. And you can give all the credit to the crowd for that one. Offense, no chance, and call for the false start. They come to the line, facing 3rd and long from the 25. Looking to pass, it's Russell. Dances away. Incomplete as the screen goes right through his hands, and it'll be 4th down.
And you got to expect this offense to go for it again here on 4th down, right? Obviously trailing, we're in the second half, but we saw them try to go for it on 4th down early. Didn't have any success. They've got to dial up a better play here.
Wanting to move the chains. Here comes Alabama on 4th. He'll try to throw and pick up the 1st down. Got him downfield. And the tackle was made, but there has been a flag thrown. That one hurts. They thought they'd move the chains on 4th down. Instead, they back up. No signs of any kind of kickers. They'll leave the offense out there to try to move those chains. Rifles it down the middle. And they can't connect. A costly turnover on downs.
Nice job by the defense there. You talk about when you have your foot on the neck of your opponent, you just keep the pressure down, right? You don't take it off. And with that opportunity on 4th down in their opponent's territory, you get the stop. You now get an opportunity here in the second half to build on your 2-possession lead.
Looking to the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio throwing it right now. There are some big names at the top of that record list. J.T. Barrett, Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields might be getting ready to move them down a notch.
And moving those guys down, that's a day. That's the day you dream about. That's the day where the ball's barely touching the ground, you're in a zone, and everything is going your way.
And the extra point was good as they finished the drive. From inside the 10-yard line, he'll bring it back. Able to find enough room to get it out across the 25. He's brought down at the 26. They'll get this drive started from their own 26. Looking to throw, it's Russell. Extending the play. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage. What will they dial up on second and a long way to go? Wants to adjust the pattern. Second down, they'll go to the air. He's going to take off. They corral him out of bounds. Mark it down at the 38, and this offense might have something going. Alabama pushing the tempo.
Well, you just get the feeling, too, that if they're going to claw their way back in this game, his legs are going to have to be a factor. What a great job scrambling that time. Nothing open. He didn't panic. He saw some green grass. He was able to get outside, away from the defense, get upfield, pick up the first down. That play is going to help their...
Trying to burn this defensive back. And incomplete on the deep ball.
And that's a really good job by this defense being dialed in. You've got a big lead. You know exactly what's coming. This offense is going to have to make some explosive plays down the field. They were ready, they were disciplined, and made a good play on the football.
Motion from the back. Misfired on first down, back to the air on second. He'll pull it down and run. Turning it on. And it's a fumble after that huge gain.
Woo. Deep breath, right? Man, you fumble that thing, you cough it up, you're like, oh, I really appreciate you, brother. I can't tell you how much I thank you because the coaches would have been all over me, but big-time break for the offense.
Looking to throw on first down. On the run, still looking. He's going to run it. And he'll skip his way out of bounds after a short gain, making sure he doesn't take any unnecessary punishment. As they get set to snap it, just about to reach the end of the quarter. Looking to throw, it's Russell. Buying some time as he moves left. He goes out of bounds, and that'll take us to the start of the fourth quarter. Well, guys, Ohio State has the lead here. And they are starting to pull away as we come to the end of the third quarter. Let's take a look at how we got here. One final period to play, and we'll see who can grab that W as we start the fourth. They go back to work with the first down in the final period of this one. From the red zone, looking for a man. Bought a little time, lets it go. Plucks it out of the air. And not much doing there as that defense runs him out of bounds. It'll be second down, and remember, they can pick up a first without scoring. Sends it back in motion. Wants to fire on second down. Gets it into the end zone, but there's a flag down. We'll see if this one is coming back. He said there would be days in games like this. Nothing seems to have gone right in the latest mishap. A touchdown taken away by the flag. Line getting set on second down. Back in motion, try to clear the picture. Going to swing it on second down. There he goes. Oh, it's loose. Defense grabs the football, and there he goes.
What a massive play by the defense, knocking it out. That's a country fumble. There's nobody around it, so you scoop that puppy up and you get downfield. It's a huge return and a momentum-changing play.
Wants to throw on first down off the play fake. They're working that left side. He makes the catch. He's knocked down immediately, but they'll have a goal-to-go situation from the 8. You know, we joke that the tight end's always open, David, but play action almost makes it impossible to keep them covered.
And yeah, because those guys, they're such good blockers most of the time. They're big and physical, and they sell block for a second, and then they run open and they find holes in zones, and they get good matchups. And man, those tight ends nowadays are nightmares for defenses to try to stop.
The offense trying to throw it there quickly down close to the goal line. Nice job by the defense tackling the catch.
Picked up some of what they needed on first down. Now it's 2nd and goal from the 5. Scanning the field, it's Ncaa. Trying to find the end zone. And a good job in coverage there as they stop it after just a few.
Well, short completion setting up 3rd down now. Who is your best playmaker that you can target in this area of the field?
This defense was put in a difficult spot, but they've made it tough, and now the offense faces 3rd and goal. They'll send the back in motion. They'll look to throw on 3rd and goal. He took a hit as he threw it and couldn't deliver the football. It's incomplete, and 4th down's coming.
And that is the play this defense had to have. Did you look in the secondary right there? I mean, he was open, guys. Like, that would have been a touchdown, and this defense got to the quarterback, hit him as he's throwing the football.
And he takes it in for the score. Touchdown, Buckeyes!
Yeah, and it's 4th and goal, and it's go time. I got to push people around. Look at the offensive line doing a really good job getting those guys moved back, creating a little hole for the running back, and he does the rest on 4th and goal and gets the touchdown.
Now they'll line up for what they hope is automatic. The kick is up and good, and put one more on the lead. A very efficient 5-play scoring drive. And it was closed out by the short yardage touchdown. Kickoff unit has been busy as they have built a big lead, and they're trying to hold on to it. Don't know if the defense will appreciate having to defend a short field from the start after that penalty. Looking downfield, it's Russell. Trying to beat the D deep. And they couldn't make the connection on the long shot.
And it's just been that kind of day for this quarterback and this offense, guys. They have never been able to get into a rhythm throwing the football. Timing's been off. Accuracy hasn't been great. We've seen some drops. Just not in sync, and that's why they find themselves trailing by a lot.
He's got it down the right side. Finally corralled, but not before. He picks up the first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Wants to throw on first down. Trying to make magic on the scramble. He'll get it down to the 31, and that's where he goes out of bounds. They get to the line quickly.
And because of the success this quarterback has had early in this game running the football, if I'm the coordinator calling plays, I'm dialing up his number more. Design runs, and also telling him on the sidelines, hey, listen, remember, if it's not open, take off. Just go get it yourself. They don't have an answer for you right now. This is a big key for us to win this game.
Wants to throw on 3rd. Bought a little time, lets it go. The sure hands, it's Miller. Rustled out of bounds at the 12, and another productive play on this drive. Alabama quickly back to the line. They're threatening to score, and they'll throw it. Got enough space, and he runs it in for the score. Touchdown!
does a nice job there executing the run play and getting in for the score, but you got to wonder, guys, is it too little too late? They're still trailing by a ton here in the fourth quarter.
They'll line up to go for two. Looking to throw, it's Russell. Gets it out fast. The short pass will come up just a tad short of the goal line. They're down big, but they'll keep fighting to the bitter end and line up for the onside kick here. That's why they call them the hands team. They're able to secure the onside kick. Here comes the Ohio State offense onto the field. This has been exactly the way you draw things up, David. The offense has really been moving the football.
And it's been great execution. They've done exactly what they wanted to do. Build the lead. Now Palmer's a different animal. Now you got to protect it.
You can tell they were paying attention in practice this week in the film room because they have gone out, everybody right now on the same page.
Backed up now. Here's second and long. They'll run play action. Got away from trouble and got rid of it. Incomplete. He had to get rid of it before he wanted to. The defense put the heat on.
Well, the receiver did everything right. He ran a good route. He got his head around. He just didn't finish the play. Just look it in.
They've got to come up with a big play on this third and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Looking deep. And trying to put points on the board on third down. Now they're staring at fourth down.
This offense isn't calling the dogs off in this game. We're here late. They're still taking shots. And a big reason why is how good this quarterback has been all game long. 4 touchdown passes. He's reading the defense. He's playing in rhythm. He's throwing on time. He's been accurate. And late in the game, they're still letting him take shots.
He'll try to do it himself. How about that defense rising up and stopping him short on fourth down?
This is so a Jesse Palmer move. Exactly what he would do. Continue to put the foot on the accelerator, try to rub it in. Can't win by enough. Got to look good in the polls. This is your kind of offense, Palmer.
He'll pull it down. Quarterback gets the first down and more. They finally corral him, but he turns that into a big gain and a first down.
And this QB, man, how about it? It's a pass play. He's dropping back to pass. He realizes it's man-to-man, and as they start to chase their guys down the field, well, nobody's got me, and I can just take off, and I've got speed. He chews up ground so easy, so frustrating for a defense to have to deal with.
Sends it downfield. And they took a shot on that one, but couldn't make the connection. It's incomplete.
And this defense has put a game together. Like, it is hard to put all the facets of defense together. Run defense, pass defense. They've been so good, man. Dialed in. You could tell they were ready. They were fast. They were physical. They dominated this football game.
He might want another play. Looking for a man. It's Russell. He's not afraid to go deep. It's picked off, and they ruin the drive with a turnover. Takes it the other way. They finally make the stop, and not only the huge turnover, but the big return has them set up in business.
Heat up them pass rushers, bring in them DBs. That's what I'm doing in this situation. When I got the lead by a couple scores late in the ball game, in the fourth quarter, I'm going to rush the passer like crazy. I'm going to put all those DBs back playing the pass. That's what happened. Great job understanding they're going to have to take shots. We get the interception. This one's almost over.
Off the play fake on first down, wants to throw. And the quarterback will take a sack back at the 36. Defense uses a timeout quickly, trying to get that ball back and preserve time for their offense. The Buckeyes have put themselves in dire straits after that last play. It's second and a mile. Back to pass. Slings it downfield. And it's picked off for the third time today. Picked up a few extra on that return, but what a play by this defense to get the football. Opening play of this drive comes from the 12-yard line. They'll start this drive going to the air. He's taking a deep shot late in the game. And they can't make the connection, going for a big play on first down.
And that's just the kind of game it's been for this quarterback in this offense. You got a great game plan all week long. You're watching it throughout practice. You think you're going to have a chance to light up the scoreboard, but they're just not able to hook up. You got to give this defense a ton of credit. They've done a great job in coverage. They've been breaking on passes. They've had their number, and that's why they're leading by as much as they are.
A deep throw as the clock winds down.
You know, it's one thing to take shots early in a game when the defense may not be expecting it, but at this point, fourth quarter, you're trailing by a lot. They know you're going to do it. The defense was expecting that one. Great job in the back end.
Alabama with a lot of ground to cover here on 3rd and long. Back to throw, it's Russell. Quarterback strolling away from Heat. And he was drilled just as he released the pass. It's incomplete. 3 straight misfires has left them staring at 4th and 10, but they'll try it again. He'll try to throw and pick up the first down. Complete out of the backfield, looking for the sticks. Goes out of bounds at the 25, and that's the way to get it out of your own end. Alabama pushing the tempo. Looking to throw on first down. Flushed out of the pocket. Creates a little space. Nice run there. Picks up a few, and they'll force him out of bounds. The Crimson Tide can dig into that playbook here on 2nd and short. Quarterback may change this route. 2nd down, he'll throw it. Trying to escape and get it himself. Really nice pickup there as they have it out to the 44 with a first down. Trying to get everybody set with the clock still running. To the air on first down. He's moving out of the pocket. Got a little space. Breaks into the open. He'll go out of bounds. They'll mark him down at the 31, and a big pickup on that one. Alabama with a 1st and 10 here. Looking downfield on first down. Going to try to get it himself. He is brought down, but man, what a job to find some running room and move the chains. Just moments ago, Alabama was feeling the shadow of its own goalpost, and now the Tide generating momentum. The pass is incomplete, and the clock will stop with 5 seconds left. And after this play, the cake will be baked. To throw, it's Russell. Under fire. They've got the play bottled up. Fumble, it's out. Knocked down, but not before he gets the first down after recovering the fumble. Coming into this one, we wondered whether these guys were a little bit overrated, and certainly they did nothing to dispel that notion.
They were playing angry today, and I know talking to some of their players, David, coming into this game, they felt like they were being disrespected. A lot of people thought their opponent might get them today, so they took this opportunity to make a statement and make an example out of their opponent.
And those are fun moments in the locker room, aren't they, Jesse? Like, everybody's doubting us. Nobody thinks we can win. It's really easy to motivate that type of squad. They played motivated. They played a little ticked off. I'm here for it. I love it. I love the excitement, the adrenaline, the emotion, and they earned a big dub today.
Thanks so much for spending some time with us. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis, and this has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.